The hall's structure reminded Han Zio of the ancient kingdoms described in books. It was spacious with rows of chairs on both sides, and at the end was the master seat covered in the hide of a white bear. Lining the walls were guards on high alert. The hall was filled with high-ranked officials of Aluma. There were guards in the halls as well, all of whom were ready to pull the trigger any time. Superhumans also hid in the dark, which gave the high-ranked officials of Aluma some sense of security. Give him a seat. Han Zio knew that they were trying to plant fear in him. He had come alone, and Aluma definitely wanted to stand their ground. Don't you want to introduce yourselves? Stop acting, Daryl said coldly. You've definitely already gone through our data in the darknet. In Green Valleyville, you attacked our territory and killed our men. What's your explanation for that? The atmosphere tensed up immediately. Those strong presences started to tense up as well, and the other factions were acting indifferent. Only the home faction was full of hostility. Han Zio remembered that he had killed one of Zio Jin's foster sons, but Zio Jin had a poker face. Han Zio could not figure out what he was thinking. So what if I killed them? If you're not happy about that, fight me. Han Zio's expression resembled a smile but not a smile. Daryl could not believe that Han Zio was so arrogant in his territory. You worked with the Germinal organization. I won't be the only one that comes looking for trouble with you. The 6 nations will, too. The crowd was stunned. Working with the Germinal organization. Since when? Daryl forced the shouting down his throat and suppressed his anger as much as he could. What are you talking about? We have never worked with the Germinal organization. Zero, whom the Germinal organization is offering an enormous sum for, was a member of your family? Han Zio replied. How do you explain that? The wanted Zero is Vice Leader Zio Jin's second son, Han Zio. Han Zio frowned. He looked at Daryl discreetly with eyes that were filled with unspoken meanings. Daryl continued speaking. But Han Zio is already not related to us. Furthermore, the Germinal organization putting a reward for Han Zio means he's their enemy. There are more reasons for us not to be working with the Germinal organization. Do you think the 6 nations' intelligence organizations will believe that? Han Zio said coldly. There are too many suspicious parts to the story. I can only assume that you are helping the Germinal organization find the wanted man. Daryl frowned and said, That's completely not true. There's more to this. I would like to hear what more there is then. Han Zio had no fear. His attitude made Daryl clench his teeth. For the family's sake, they had to cut ties with the Germinal organization very clearly. The war between the 6 nations and the Germinal organization was about to break out, so if they were misunderstood, Aluma would be in a dire situation. Although Han Zio had come alone, Daryl did not dare do anything to him. After all, he was Black Phantom, with his identity and strength. The fact that he was there might even have been an order from the Darknet. If they killed him, the Darknet would become their enemy, and it would prove the fact that they were working with the Germinal organization. Most importantly, Black Phantom was unfathomable. The people in the headquarters had no confidence in killing him, and finding out if they could was not worth the risk. Leader Zio, you shall tell him the details. Zio Jin looked at Daryl faintly. He turned his head and said, Zio Hai, tell him. A handsome young man walked out from behind Zio Jin, his expression rather vicious. Zio Hai, the first and best son of Zio Jin, partly in charge of the Zio faction. He was someone with actual political power, and Zio Jin had raised him to take his place. 1 year ago, I was guarding a convoy of supplies and was attacked midway. Han Zio went missing. I have no clue what happened to him afterward, Zio Hai said coldly. Han Zio is my brother, so I made him look like me and divided their attention as bait. Only then I could escape successfully. I went back searching with more troops afterward, but we weren't able to find him. Han Zio raised his eyebrows. So, you let your little brother die for you. Was he willing to? What do you think? Zio Hai was already annoyed. The crowd chatted among themselves, eyes with all kinds of different emotions fixed upon Zio Hai. That is what happened, Daryl said. We can show you more evidence, and whether you believe it or not, we have no relationship with the Germinal organization. Han Zio nodded. He had already received the information he needed. What happened to the original owner of this body, and the attitude of his family toward him. When he mentioned the original owner of this body, the people in the Zio faction treated it like it was a stranger. This was especially so for Zio Hai, who did not show even a shred of remorse toward killing his own little brother, and Zio Jin had no problem with that. In conclusion, the original owner of the body was not loved by anyone. Everyone treated him like nothing. You had a pretty hard life, Han Zio thought. You killed my foster son, Zio Jin suddenly said. This is a private matter, Chieftain Zio, Han Zio replied. Let's discuss it privately. Sure, Zio Jin nodded. The crowd's eyes twinkled. Black Phantom's reply to the same matter was completely different. Daryl showed unhappiness on his face but did not say anything. Han Zhao turned his head to look at Daryl and said, "It's late. You don't mind if I stay the night, right? Zhao Jin, take care of him." Meeting dismissed. Daryl stood up and walked out. The crowd walked past Han Zhao with different expressions on their faces. A man walked up to Han Zhao, smiled, and said, "I'm Zhao Ming, a foster son of leader Zhao. I will be taking care of you during your stay. Please follow me." Han Zhao looked around and realized that who had brought him here, was missing. The internal conflict in Aluma is really very severe. The tense atmosphere in the hall earlier on further proved his point. With such thoughts in his mind, Han Zhao walked out of the hall. Suddenly, a dozen or so players surrounded him with excitement on their faces. They were all from the Bamboo Rain Guild. Bamboo Rain Xuan enabled the recording functions. "We want to learn abilities," Bamboo Rain Fragrance said. Han Zhao surely would not miss out on an opportunity to earn some experience points, so he casually opened the ability interface. Zhao Ming, who was standing on the side, asked in surprise, "Do you know them?" Han Zhao shook his head. Black Phantom seems to be very popular among the Inhumans. The Bamboo Rain Guild wanted to trigger missions, but Han Zhao did not make any other interactions. He walked away after stopping for a few seconds. It's an unexpected plotline, but there's no mission. Bamboo Rain Fly was confused. "Seems like my recording has nothing of interest," Bamboo Rain Xuan said in frustration. Upon arriving at the place, Han Zhao realized that Zhao Jin's children were all gathered around, including Zhao Hai and other brothers and sisters. However, the foster kids were not there. Zhao Jin had the same expressionless face as he had in the day, unpredictable. Han Zhao was looking at Zhao Jin and his children, and these people were looking at him, too. "What compensation do you want?" Han Zhao looked at Zhao Jin and put on a smile that did not really look like a smile. "It's his bad luck that he died." Zhao Jin's expression was cold. To him, foster children were just assistants and tools. "Then why did you invite me here?" Han Zhao raised an eyebrow. "There are no bad sides to getting to know a famous killer. I'm very interested in Han Zhao. Let's talk more about him." The atmosphere suddenly turned cold. Zhao Jin put the cup down and said slowly, "He's my son. He has always been incompetent, but I didn't think he would become wanted by the Germinal organization. I thought he's dead for sure," Zhao Hai said. "No wonder they say scourges last for 1,000 years. He's still bringing us trouble." Han Zhao pointed at himself and said, "You mean I'm trouble?" Zhao Hai gave a cold laugh and said, "Are you not?" With a light cough, Zhao Jin said, "It's getting late." "Indeed, it is." Han Zhao stood up and left. Zhao Ming brought him back to his room. He passed a stack of documents to Han Zhao as he walked through the door. "This is Han Zhao's information. Father had told me to give it to you." Han Zhao nodded and accepted it. He was basically a nobody, and he did not hear about any NPC called Han Zhao in his previous life either. Sigh. Han Zhao shook his head. He had made contact with Aluma to know more about the original owner of his body, and he had already achieved that. Once Aluma knows I'm Zhao Han, I wonder how they will react. At midnight in Daryl's mansion. It's all because of that asshole Zhao Jin that Aluma has been sucked into this. That asshole has been building on his power with no worries at all. He's obviously trying to seize power. However, the North faction is my ally, and Sekai's Red Island faction has always been neutral. Father, Black Phantom has left Zhao Jin's mansion. The meeting lasted for 1 hour and 37 minutes. Zhao Jin is becoming more unbridled. Now he even dares meet Black Phantom privately without my consent. Daryl was enraged. "What do we do? Just let Black Phantom leave. Don't mess with him." But he dared to be this arrogant in our territory. Lagos was unconvinced. "I said don't mess with him." Daryl slammed the table in a rage and shouted, "Get out." Lagos clenched his teeth and closed the door after he walked out. The moment he turned his head, his expression turned vicious. As the sky started to brighten, loud noises woke Han Zhao up, who was in a light sleep. He jumped out of the bed and looked outside through the window. Aluma members were yelling and rushing somewhere. "What happened?" Han Zhao asked in confusion. Footsteps closed in rapidly, and dozens of soldiers surrounded the room with guns. "Black Phantom, don't move," one of the captains shouted. These soldiers' mission was to control him. They were all in a state of nervousness that could pull the trigger wrongly anytime. In the office, Daryl sat on the chair with his head facing up, a bloody blue hole on his left eye, penetrating through the back of his head. The blood on the wooden floor had already coagulated, and the metallic smell of blood filled the room. From the size of the bullet hole, the killer used a high-caliber handgun, and the leader did not show any sign of resistance. There are no clues at the scene that showed any signs of the killer ever being here. Han Zhao suddenly understood why the others were looking at him that way. Daryl died in the night, and being the killer who came without invitation, he was the most suspicious. Also, the killer used a high-caliber handgun, and the assassination style was phantom-like. There were too many coincidences. He was being framed. Han Zhao blinked. He took out a cigarette from the pocket, lighted it up, and inhaled deeply, blowing out a smoke ring in the face of the surrounding nervous soldiers. Now this is interesting. Get him. Lagos's face was twisted. Zhao Jin frowned and stopped him. There's more to this. Black Phantom visited us in bright daylight. There's no need for him to do such thing. What if that's exactly what he made us think? One of the chieftains of the northern faction said. Then why did he have to visit us? It's more discreet to assassinate him. Zhao Jin said. Our guarding power is strong. He wanted to get in. Someone said. He's the killer, and you still want to find excuses for him. Lagos was emotional. He took out his gun and pointed at Han Zhao. Kai, who stood on his side, hurriedly stopped him. Calm down. There's no motive for Black Phantom to do this. Motive? Lagos was enraged. He stared at Zhao Jin, clenched his teeth and said, is there no motive? Zhao Jin frowned and said, you're overthinking. The northern faction and the home faction agreed they should first control Black Phantom, who was the most suspicious, then get on to find more clues. Kai felt Black Phantom was too dangerous and suggested to question Han Zhao on the spot, but was interrupted by Lagos, who believed they couldn't trust anything Black Phantom says. They were unable to come to an agreement. Han Zhao thought to himself, the result of framing me to take responsibility for the assassination is a conflict between Aluma and the Dark Net. Only the third party will benefit from it. Could this be the goal of the people behind all this? Han Zhao could kill his way out anytime. He didn't care about making Aluma angry, but if he did it, it would be falling into the trap of the people behind this, as escaping would mean he admitted he was the killer, and killing someone creates hatred. He also could not just let them capture him. It seemed like the plan made by the person behind this had worked. Wait, evidence? Han Zhao had a flash of insight. It hasn't been long since Delo was assassinated. The crime scene was not checked thoroughly yet. The killer might have left some clues. This time, the discussion between the high-ranked officials had come to an end. Lagos yelled, Black Phantom, disarm yourself and surrender. Zhao Jin added, if you didn't do it, we will investigate clearly. Han Zhao smiled. You know that's impossible. How about you guys disarm yourselves? Both parties couldn't trust each other. There was no way they would take the risk of disarming themselves. It was a problem that had no solution. However, Han Zhao had a thought. There's no point of continuing this argument. I can stay temporarily, and you can send people to monitor me 24/7. I will wait till you find the truth, he said. Han Zhao was very curious about who was framing him. He felt it was quite interesting. Before Lagos said anything, someone in the crowd suddenly fired his gun. Han Zhao reacted quickly and activated the magnetically controlled retractable armor. The bullet was deflected. However, this had made the soldiers, who were all in a highly nervous state, lose their control, and all fired at the same time. Fire. Conflict broke out in an instant. Someone fired unexpectedly on purpose. Han Zhao's eyes became serious. The scene was chaotic, but he saw the person who made the shot clearly. It was an ordinary soldier. Bullets emerged from every direction. Han Zhao had no choice but to deal with the shootings first. The compounded magnetic chain split blades was activated. 7 sharp blades flew out of the pockets and shot out like a storm. Many soldiers' gun muzzle was cut off. They backed off in horror and bumped into other soldiers on the exteriors. The firepower of the enemy started weakening. Just as Han Zhao was about to go for the soldier who made the first shot, the superhuman guards hidden in the dark acted. 3 pugilists, one a spur that could turn his entire body into fire, all pounced towards Han Zhao at the same time. Level 46, 48, 49, 3 pugilists, and 1 Esper at level 45, all grade D superhumans. These should be the high-tier power in Aluma. If it was before, he would have had some troubles, but now that all his skills were at max level, he was much stronger. It wouldn't be much of a problem for him even if he didn't wear his mechanical suit. In fact, he was more concerned about the soldier who fired first. But he realized that the young soldier was killed in the previous round of chaotic shootings. Han Zhao felt a thump in his heart. He didn't believe this would be an accident. He spun his hands. The revolving blades covered him like a protecting storm, slashing almost 10 times per second, inflicting wounds on the 3 pugilists who were just closing in. Everywhere he walked past, the weapons of the soldiers were cut into pieces. He used this sort of weapon in his previous life before. It didn't need much practice. He was a pro in it instantly. He purposely held back and didn't kill anyone. Magnetically controlled retractable armor, electromagnetic skateboard shoes and other equipment he carried around all the time. All went through, their attributes became much stronger. Han Zio's own combat power had also peaked due to all his skills being at max level. Han Zio didn't even need Viper, modified to deal with these 4 superhumans that had a lower level than him. He only needed compounded magnetic chain split blades as a close-range combat weapon to defeat them. Han Zio's health had reached 38 points, not far from a pugilist of the same level, and he also had the magnetically controlled retractable armor. He was very tanky. On the other side, members of the Bamboo Rain Guild witnessed Han Zio defeating a group of soldiers and 4 superhumans. Bamboo Rain Guild recorded them with excitement. That is a recording that has the potential to go viral. Bamboo Rainfly said in surprise, "I thought Black Phantom was their guest, but from what they are saying, it seemed like Black Phantom killed their leader. I made a scan just now. All 4 NPCs that are fighting Black Phantom have a danger level of. What they say in the forums are right. Black Phantom is at the top tier in terms of strength even amongst the NPCs. Bamboo Rain Morning Wind rolled his eyes and said, "You don't say. Which NPC that gives main storyline missions are not strong?" Han Zio moved around with horrifyingly high mobility. The 4 superhumans could only barely hit him despite putting in all their efforts. Han Zio purposely faked an opportunity for them to attack and lured one of the pugilists to a close range, then used the thermo-electrical incisor gloves to counter-attack and defeated one person first. He then used the blades to form a storm and slashed wounds all over the fire-controlling Esper. The 2 people left soon had an even harder time dealing with Han Zio. Whoosh! The blade slashed open the flesh of the pugilist and shot out through his body, causing blood to shoot out from the wounds. This pugilist ended up twitching on the floor with heavy injury and was unable to move. Shit. Lagos was shocked. Black Phantom defeated the 4 guards in much shorter time he expected before the backup could arrive. The scene was now filled with broken bricks and ruins. No one could stop Black Phantom anymore. If he were to start a killing spree, many of the high-ranked officials would die. I can kill you people, but that would be falling right into the trap of someone else. Our terms remain unchanged. I can stay till you find out the truth, but if you insist on capturing me, I don't mind to gift you a few slashes. His fingers turned inwards as he was saying. The blades danced in the air and formed a flower shape. The motive of threatening was clear. "You?" Lagos clenched his teeth in anger. Before he could say anything, Zio Jin cut in and said, "We accept your terms. I personally believe the assassination had nothing to do with you. It's a conspiracy intended to spark conflict between both parties." The high-ranked officials agreed in silence. Black Phantom was even stronger than the rumors said he was. He defeated the strongest people in the headquarters without even using his sniping style, which he was known for. These people were not weak, but they paled in comparison to Black Phantom. They were not on the same level. The backup finally arrived at this time. Zio Jin immediately ordered the soldiers to keep their weapons, showing sincerity on their side. Seeing so, Han Zio kept his weapons too and walked towards where he resided in. The nervous crowd split up and opened a path. Zio Jin gave Lagos a faint look, then turned his head and ordered, "Clean the scene up." Lagos was filled with fury. One of the high-ranked officials from the home faction helped him to get up but was pushed away instantly. "He could have killed us, but he insisted he's not the killer, should be trustworthy." Sekai whispered. "Naive," Lagos said coldly. "If he kills us, all of Aluma will become enemy with the Dark Net till the very end." Having returned to Han Zio's residence, the interface showed a notification. "You have triggered an urgent mission. Mission introduction. You are framed and dragged into a conspiracy, becoming a chess piece used by the people behind this. Mission requirement. S. Confirm the real killer and accomplish the mission. You have only one chance. Reward. S. Random ability or talent X1. At the same time, Bamboo Rain Guild triggered a different mission. The leader of Aluma was murdered. Black Phantom, who came to visit out of nowhere, became the biggest suspect. But he claimed to not be the killer and suppressed objections with his raw strength. Aluma might seem to have submitted, but some factions still strongly believe Black Phantom is the killer. What information is hidden within? There are 5 stands you can take on: Black Phantom, Home Faction, Zio Faction, Red Island Faction, and the Northern Faction. Changes cannot be made after choosing. Reward. S. Rewards will be given based on different stands and contribution. The basic reward is 50,000 experience points. Bamboo Rainfly exclaimed in shock. At least 50,000 experience points. 50,000 experience points were an extremely large amount for them. There really always were benefits wherever Black Phantom went. What position will you guys be choosing? Black Phantom for me. Me too. Everyone agreed. They didn't know Aluma very well, and Han Zio just defeated all of Aluma's military power. It was obvious following Han Zio would be the most reliable. Players of Bamboo Rain Guild approached Han Zio and expressed their willingness to help. Usually, in an area where something happened, missions would be triggered. Follow me then. In a corner somewhere, two people were talking to each other. The conflict did not happen. Our man died for nothing. The intelligence said Black Phantom was a serial murderer, but he held back this time. What a misstep. Luckily, the clues have been destroyed. As long as the truth cannot be found, Black Phantom would still be the biggest suspect. In one mansion, the high-ranked officials of the home faction gathered. The atmosphere was intense. Leader has died. Who is going to be in charge now? A tall and muscular man said. He is Delo's younger brother, Todd. Me, Lagos said coldly. Todd forced a fake smile and said, Lagos, I don't think that is suitable. What do you mean? Lagos frowned and said, you should call me uncle, Todd said in a more serious tone. The lead, my older brother passed away. We are all family here. I should be the one in charge according to precedence. Humph, only a few days since father has died, and you're already seizing power. Aren't you too impatient? Lagos said in a mocking tone. Don't blame me for not warning you, but without father's suppression, Zio Jin, Sekai and others are all making their plans. The position of the leader is now vacant. Who knows what they will do? They may look like they were filled with sadness and regret during the funeral, but they were probably laughing uncontrollably in their hearts. Black Phantom is the most suspicious. Nothing he says can be trusted. I have already informed some people to contact the strongest killers and mercenaries. Once they arrive, we won't have to be afraid anymore. We will just capture Black Phantom and interrogate him. I have spent a large sum this time. The people who are coming are all famously strong. Maybe it really wasn't Black Phantom. Someone whispered. Lagos stared over and said coldly, then it has to be Zio Jin. That asshole is very ambitious. He has been under father for so many years and he's definitely not satisfied with it. Right, I heard Black Phantom stayed in Zio Jin's mansion the night the assassination happened. Maybe Zio Jin hired Black Phantom with a huge sum to assassinate father, then put on a show together to fool the others. With his eyes closed, Zio Jin asked, what's happening in the home faction? Lagos is in charge of everything now. They are currently investigating Delo's death, but has yet to make any progress. By the way, Delo's mansion was destroyed by Black Phantom during the battle, and so were the clues. Zio Jin paused what he was doing and asked, who ordered to bring Black Phantom to the scene? The team leader that went to keep Black Phantom in control is called Miri. He was killed by stray bullets during the scrimmage on the day. Stray bullets. Zio Jin shook his head. What is Black Phantom doing? He asked. He did not act. Intelligent choice. Zio Jin nodded and said, before the truth about Delo's assassination is unveiled, no faction is willing to approach him. Anyone that does will become a mutual target of the rest. Zio Hai said, the Inhumans are working for him. I still do not know why he can easily order the Inhumans. Leave him alone. He can't be the real killer. Sekai sat in the office. He pulled down all the curtains and made a call and said in a very quiet voice, Major General, what should we do now? What are your thoughts? Delo is dead. The leader's position became vacant. There must be a vote for a successor. I will be entering as a candidate. Hope you can give me support. Sure, I will use my relationship network to help you gain votes of the high-ranked officials. When you control Aluma, remember how you got there? Don't forget our promise. Definitely. Sekai let out a sigh of relief as he hung up the phone. Han Zio was patient. He stayed in the room every day while the players from Bamboo Rain Guild helped him to gather intelligence. It wasn't much, but at least he was not totally uninformed. As rewards, Han Zio was not petty in giving missions to the players in Bamboo Rain Guild, then earning their experience points by opening his ability shop. He was making a fortune one way or another. Black Phantom, we suspect that you worked together with Zio Jin to kill my father. Now get up and come with us. Where did you get the confidence from? Han Zio raised his eyebrows. Lagos kept a low profile for so many days. Now that he suddenly engages, he must have found help. As expected, Lagos sneered and stepped back. Two people stepped out of the crowd, one man and one woman. I see. Seems like you spent quite a lot of money, he said calmly. The man and woman were a married couple, Luan and Vanessa, legends of the Mercenary Society, with a position similar to Han Zio's in the Killer Society. Their strength was also at the peak of the third tier in Planet Aquamarine. They lived all the way till version 2.0. Lagos had people contact them secretly. Many rejected as soon as they heard they had to fight Black Phantom. They didn't dare to become enemies with Han Zio. Those who came had absolute confidence. He had investigated thoroughly this time. He knew these two people were on the same level as Han Zio, and it would be most safe to hire both of them together. Black Phantom definitely could not defeat them head-on. Lagos sneered and said, "When I capture you, I will make sure you spit out everything you know." Han Zio shook his head and said, "Isn't it good to be alive?" "Humph, quite arrogant I see. I heard you are very good at sniping, but now I'm only 3 meters away. I won't give you a chance to even fire one shot. And how many of my punches can you endure? Be good and disarm yourself, or I will brush the floor with your brain juice." A third voice appeared from an empty area. "It's been long since we met, Mr. Black." This voice sounded familiar. Han Zio raised his eyebrows. "Invisible Demon, you're here too." Invisible Demon did not reply. Murderous intent filled the air. It was not 2 strong opponents but 3. Han Zio smiled as he shook his head. No wonder Lagos was so confident. He really spent a huge sum to deal with him. A stream of piercing wind passed by Han Zio. Han Zio made it in time to activate his magnetically controlled retractable armor. Invisible Demon's nails scratched on its surface and created fire sparkles. In a few months' time, Invisible Demon increased 2 levels and became slightly stronger. Back then Han Zio could not win Invisible Demon. It resulted in a tie. But now, they were on completely different levels. Han Zio raised his hands. Compounded magnetic chain split blades formed a cyclone slashing through the air. Numerous damage numbers appeared in the air. Wounds opened and blood dripped down, and then disappeared in the next instant. Invisible Demon could retract his skin to hide his wounds. Invisible Demon was shocked by the compounded magnetic chain split blades and backed off hurriedly. Before Han Zio could make the chase, a wave of air pressure shot towards him. Vanessa pounced forward with her fists raining down hard. Han Zio raised his hands to parry, but they became numb. His STR was inferior to Vanessa. Both Vanessa and Luan were pugilists near level 60. Their STR, Dex, and End were all much higher than Han Zio, who was a mechanic. Suddenly, Luan caught up quickly. His 2 fists combined into one and turned into a black meteor covered in flames, hitting Han Zio's chest armor plate. With pain felt on his chest, Han Zio's interface showed a high amount of damage. This was an advanced tier ability of Pugilist. It is a vibration hit that ignores part of the physical armor. Players in his previous life called it hitting the cattle across the mountain. Pugilists who learned advanced tier abilities were difficult to deal with. It had given Han Zio some amount of pressure. Without a change of expression, Han Zio backed up holding guns in both hands. High-caliber bullets shot out rapidly. The power of his firearms increased furthermore as his shooting abilities reached max level. Han Zio picked up his equipment bag full of machinery and dashed into the room. Luan was just about to follow, but Vanessa stopped him. "Careful, he's a mechanic. There might be traps," she said. Luan nodded. He punched the floor strongly. Cracks spread out from the center of the punch and the entire house started shaking. No matter what trap Black Phantom had placed, it would all become meaningless once the house was destroyed and the battlefield turned into an open area. Lagos hastily brought the soldiers to back off far away. Boom. The house collapsed. Asks obstructed the vision. Luan squinted his eyes and saw a shadow jumping out of the ruins vaguely. He immediately dashed forward like a warhorse. His fists punched forward like a hammer, leaving bright marks behind. "Fall," Luan yelled, but the next moment, he heard the buzzing sound of energy and a cold metallic voice. Enhanced mode. Bang. Luan felt like he had hit a metal wall. No, even metal wall would be destroyed by this punch. But it had only made this indestructible wall back off a little more than 10 centimeters, and then the metal surrounded his fists. The dust dissipated, and the shadow's true form appeared. A heavy mechanical left arm, many times larger than a normal arm and made of a dense black platinum alloy, was holding onto Luan's fists tightly. Han Zio, who was controlling this enormous mechanical arm, was already wearing Viper. Luan wanted to escape, but he realized that Han Zio's strength became almost as high as his. Han Zio's heavy mechanical left arm buzzed and slammed Luan's head heavily. Luan's head was bashed into the floor, but the punches did not stop. They continually rained down on him, and the damp on the ground expanded rapidly. Since he was acting alone, Han Zio had brought along all his ace cards along in his equipment bag. The heavy mechanical arm had been disassembled into parts to become more portable, and the assembly process was easy and quick, capable of being performed during the battle in a short time. Vanessa was raging as she saw Luan pressed against the floor. She dashed forward hastily. Han Zio did not dodge or back up. He battled Vanessa in close range. His fists and legs contained a huge amount of power, and the floor split open inch by inch. Shockwave Blast was a mid-range ability that hardly dealt any damage to the mechanical suit as it lacked power. Viper's enhanced mode steadily gained the upper hand. The two of them were extremely agile, so their fight looked like two blurry shadows in the eyes of the others. Only the constant explosions and destruction showed how dangerous these two were. The black fists hit Vanessa's face multiple times. Her nose was bleeding. At the same time, Lewin finally pulled himself up off the ground, his head bleeding all over. He growled and pounced over. However, when he was halfway there, Hanzio suddenly swung his fists and pushed Vanessa to the side. His right hand pulled out the folded the ghost sniper rifle behind his back and aimed at Lewin. The black muzzle gave an even more dangerous feeling than earlier on. Lewin's hair stood up all over the body. Hanzio pulled the trigger. Bang! A huge hole appeared on Lewin's chest, and blood spurted out like a fountain. After damage reduction, you have dealt 1,942 damage to Lewin. Extremely close to 2,000 points of damage. Lewin health was only between 4,000 to 5,000. One shot, almost half of his health. Lewin kneeled on the floor, his entire body twitching. He raised his head and looked straight at Hanzio with disbelief. "Didn't you say that you were going to wipe the floor with my brain juice?" An emotionless mechanical voice came from under the cold mask. Hanzio pressed Lewin on the floor with his right hand. His left hand bashed Lewin's head again and again. Lewin was paralyzed by the shot and did not have his energy protective layer. Vanessa screamed in sorrow, rage, and hatred. Then, she turned and started fleeing. Black Phantom was much stronger than expected. She did not want to die for nothing. She only had a chance to revenge if she stayed alive. That's why I said, isn't it good to be alive? Dozens of arrow-shaped shadows shot out and landed around Vanessa, which then exploded and created a high-pitched sound wave. These were all mini-sonic bombs. Hanzio had made them into even smaller arrow shapes and added a simple ejecting module onto Viper, which allowed it to shoot this kind of simple and portable disabling weapon. The determining attribute for the sonic bomb was endurance. Although Vanessa was a pugilist, she still could not endure dozens of sonic bombs. Thus, she fell to the ground in agony. Hanzio jumped over in a few steps, then activated the thermo-electrical incisor gloves and grabbed Vanessa's eyes. He then turned on Sunworm Flamethrower. With screams of pain and the smell of burning flesh, Vanessa turned into a piece of charcoal in no time. He then activated all kinds of scanning modules. The scanning module highlighted Invisible Demon's position. He was in the area where the sonic bombs exploded, trembling in pain. Invisible Demon was absolutely terrified by Hanzio. It had only been a few months since they fought, and Black Phantom had reached a height that stunned him. He deeply regretted accepting this mission and very soon had the thoughts of backing off. But unfortunately for him, he had been blasted away by the explosion just as he was secretly escaping. The revived players stood far away with their throat feeling dry. "This, so strong," Bamboo Rain Xuan exclaimed. She had recorded the entire fight, and she had a feeling it would definitely go viral. Black Phantom had never shown the mechanical suit. The already high strength that they had seen before was just the tip of the iceberg. This was his true strength. No, maybe Black Phantom was still hiding more. Lagos could not believe it. Without anything to rely on, Lagos' entire body trembled as he faced Black Phantom with a strong murderous intent. Filled with regret, could not even begin to describe his emotions. Hanzio walked toward Lagos and tapped him on the shoulder. He said softly, "I have already given you a chance. You can't kill me." Lagos looked fierce on the outside but was horrified on the inside. "I'm the person in charge of the home faction. If you kill me, home faction will." Before he even finished his sentence, slash, the blade cut across his throat and blood splashed slowly. No hesitation. Lagos's eyes widened. He held his neck and fell down. His body temperature lowered as blood escaped from his body, and he looked at Hanzio in disbelief. Hanzio looked at the high-ranked officials of the home faction. He played with the blade covered in blood and said calmly, "Do you have any problems?" The home faction was furious as they looked at Lagos' corpse, but they did not dare provoke Hanzio. After all, a real-life example of what would happen if they did was right in front of them. This time, Todd walked out of the crowd and said, "This was all Lagos' idea. He deserved it. On behalf of the entire home faction, we absolutely won't hold a grudge for this." "You are, Todd, Daryl's younger brother, Lagos's uncle. I'm in charge of the home faction now." Todd forced himself to be calm as he spoke. The home faction gave him a weird look. They were amazed by Todd's ability to grab the opportunity to take over the home faction as soon as Lagos died. But Todd did indeed speak their mind. Therefore, they all kept silent and accepted Todd's position. The people that they had hired who had such great strength had easily been killed. Hanzio's strength was overwhelming. Black Phantom has overwhelming strength and doesn't care if he becomes our enemy, yet he still insists to claim he's not the killer. Maybe he really didn't carry out the assassination, Sekai said. But he killed Lagos, that's a new grudge, the head of the northern faction said. Todd stopped him and said, Lagos did this to himself, and he deserved it. Our home faction will neither seek revenge nor hold grudges. The others looked at him with despise while selectively choosing to forget that they were thinking the same. Upon arriving at his new house, Hanzio woke up the captive invisible demon. He had planted a locating device in Invisible Demon's body and could know where he was without seeing him. What do you want? Invisible Demon was horrified. I heard your invisibility came from a laboratory experiment accident, and your skin mutated. If I strip your skin off, it must be worth quite a fortune. Invisible Demon was terrified and started to sweat all over. Don't do that. You're my prisoner now. Do you think you're in any position to object? Invisible Demon had nothing to reply to with. Hanzio stopped teasing him and knocked him unconscious, then injected a strong anesthetic, tied him up, and threw him aside. There was a reward from the dark net for Invisible Demon, and Hanzio planned to take on the mission then turn an Invisible Demon alive, completing the mission immediately and maximizing the profit. A few days after, Zio Jin came knocking on his door. He told Hanzio that he had found an important clue. Through checking the guard's verbal information and comparing it with the recording from the surveillance cameras, I have found some traces. On the night of the assassination, an assistant of one of the northern faction's high-ranked officials left his house and disappeared for 27 minutes. This high-ranked official of the northern faction is called Su Dinghua, 45 years of age, a northern continent local, always kept a low profile. A spy I sent into the northern faction discovered that Su Dinghua has secret connections with Raylan, and his assistant only changed a few years ago, the same year that he started to contact Raylan. Many high-ranked officials contacted other organizations discreetly, but all for their own benefits. However, Raylan had obviously turned Su Dinghua into a traitor. Raylan might have planted quite few strong people around Su Dinghua. I was hoping you could help us capture Su Dinghua and his co-conspirators, and this is a good opportunity for you to get rid of the suspicion as well. I was thinking you would want to do it yourself, Zio Jin said with a sincere tone. Hanzio stared at Zio Jin for quite some time and smiled suddenly. I will help you this time, at market rate. Okay. Zio Jin nodded. At night, Hanzio started to act. Since he already exposed Viper, he wore it this time as well, but without the heavy mechanical arm. A stealth operation did not require such a rough weapon. Su Dinghua was a high-ranked official who had a rather low position compared to others. His guarding power in the mansion was weak, and with Hanzio's level and strength, sneaking in was a piece of cake. When he quietly entered the study, the light was on. Hanzio stood against the wall and scanned the room with magnetic scanning. There was no one in the room. Hanzio entered the room without making a sound. There's a hidden safe behind the painting on the wall beside the table. Hanzio's eyes twinkled. Just as he was going to flip open the painting to open the safe, he realized something and stopped. He carefully looked around the room, then left the safe alone and came to the table instead. He tried opening the drawers, but they were all locked. However, that was not a problem for him. As a mechanic who could build firearms and robots, it would be a shame if he could not even open a lock. The drawers were filled with paper documents, mostly Aluma's internal information. There were some reports too. He dug through for a while and realized that they were all irrelevant documents. However, he found a slip of paper with a string of numbers written on it, which seemed like the passcode for the safe, and a small metal key that also looked like it was for the safe. Way too obvious. Hanzio shook his head. He closed the drawer and did not use the key to open the safe. Hiding a safe behind a painting was too common. The key and passcode left in the drawer felt like it was done purposely. It looked like a trap. It could have been an incorrect assumption, but Hanzio was just there to capture Su Dinghua. The safe could be opened any time after he captured him. Hanzio walked toward the living room. He heard a few guards that were chatting with each other, and after a strategic scan and a vital sign comparison, he noticed that these people were all around LV-20, which meant that they were not normal guards. They could be superhumans, and if they were not, it meant that they were normal people but very elite. Seems like it was right. Hanzio nodded. Su Dinghua's guards hid their true strength, so there was definitely something suspicious going on. There were 8 guards in the mansion along with Su Dinghua's assistant. Hanzio was not planning to let any of them escape. Returning to the living room, Hanzio did not hide anymore. He broke through the door and entered. 2. The guards pulled out their guns immediately. However, with the mechanical suit, these 4 unprepared guards were defeated within seconds. The commotion attracted attention. The radar detected other guards were coming quickly. Han Zhao broke through the wall with a loud bang and knocked out those guards one after another. Su Dinghua's assistant was hiding the most. He was at around LV-40. However, he still could not last for more than 10 seconds before Han Zhao broke his arms and legs and knocked him onto the ground. The difference in strength was too vast, an easy victory for Han Zhao. Han Zhao's destruction power was like a demolition. The whole mansion turned into ruins, and the loud noise could be heard from very far away. Zhao Jin was on standby right outside the mansion. He broke in as soon as he saw that Han Zhao had succeeded. Su Dinghua knew that he had been exposed when he woke up. How did you know? Su Dinghua was shocked and confused. I've known you were in contact Raylan for a very long time, Zhao Jin said coldly. You have changed your guards over the last few years. They are all strangers and sent by Raylan. You thought this was an opportunity when Black Phantom visited out of the blue and carried out the assassination, thinking that you did it very discreetly and destroyed many traces. Still, some clues were left behind. Zhao Jin listed many pieces of evidence. Su Dinghua closed his eyes in pain and softly spoke to himself. I knew this day would come. Being found out means death. Then, Su Dinghua looked at his assistant and said, I did kill our leader, but I'm not the mastermind. He is. Raylan gave me many benefits and promised me even more, so I did things for them. He's a spy sent by Raylan to monitor and control me. This plan was also suggested by him. The real killer that assassinated Daryl had been found. The whole plan had been Raylan's, and Han Zhao was cleared of suspicion. Su Dinghua died in the interrogation. He spat out quite an amount of intelligence before he died. He was a very important chess piece to Raylan, and the assassination was to spark conflict between Aluma and Darknet. But the plan had gone south. Everything was settled. However, Black Phantom, who had cleared his suspicion, decided to stay. No one knew what motives he had. The factions did not have time to care about him since they were all busy with the election of a successor. 3 days after capturing Su Dinghua, Zhao Jin brought Zhao Hai along and came to visit. Why are you looking for me? Han Zhao asked. I should be the one asking. What's your goal in staying here? Zhao Jin asked back. I was framed out of nowhere, and your people wanted to kill me. I need compensation. Zhao Hai was shocked and angry. This whole thing was planned by Raylan, and you even killed our people. How dare you ask for compensation? Raylan is too far away, so I'm getting money from you guys first. You're robbing us. Zhao Hai was filled with anger. That's correct. Han Zhao nodded calmly. He looked at Zhao Hai mockingly and said, what can you do about that? Zhao Jin pulled the furious Zhao Hai back, then wrote a number on a piece of paper and said, I will compensate you personally. Is this amount enough? Han Zhao gave it a quick look and said, barely acceptable. Zhao Hai was frustrated. He did not understand why Zhao Jin was willing to pay. There was absolutely no need to in his eyes. There's another reason for you to have come to find me, right? Han Zhao crossed his legs. Indeed, I have something to ask your help for. Daryl is dead, and the leader position is now vacant. Aluma is a large family, so there needs to be a leader. In 2 days' time, an internal election will be carried out in a vote from the high-ranked officials. Todd from the Home faction, Sekai from the Red Island faction, and Angleton from the Northern faction are all strong competitors. When I was focused on investigating Daryl's death, they were already approaching the high-ranked officials and drawing votes. I'm now at a disadvantage, so I hope you can help me, Zhao Jin said in seriousness. Outsiders cannot interfere with internal elections. He has no position in the internal meeting no matter how strong he is. Zhao Hai said hastily. I have a way, Zhao Jin replied coldly. Mr. Black Phantom, are you willing to join us Zhao faction? The atmosphere suddenly turned weird. Zhao Hai almost staggered and fell. He was completely shocked. Zhao Jin had never discussed this with him, and now suddenly he's going to have a stepfather. Damn, you can do that. Han Zhao's eyes twitched. Zhao Jin's level of shameless exceeded his expectations. Would such a childish method work? Politics has always been childish, Zhao Jin replied coldly. As long as you join the Zhao faction, you can attend internal meetings. Your strength will signify your power, and as long as you appear, it will represent a threat. However, you will be a part of the Zhao faction by then, which means you're not an exterior threat. Han Zhao looked at Zhao Hai and smiled mockingly. Come, let me hear you call me stepfather. Zhao Hai's face turned green. He was an arrogant person, so this was a fate worse than death. However, he saw Xiao Jin's strict face, then suppressed his anger with all his might and forced the words out through gritted teeth. Stepfather. Han Xiao dug his ears and teased, I didn't hear that clearly. Stepfather, Xiao Hai yelled. He used so much strength that blood came out of his teeth, and a metallic taste filled his mouth. Hehe, good boy. Han Xiao could not control his laughter in his heart. His body's origin was Xiao Hai's younger brother. What would Xiao Hai think if he knew the truth? Xiao Jin reached out his hand and said, I look forward to working with you. Han Xiao accepted the handshake. The father and son of the Xiao family stood up and left, neither of them saying a word as they did so. After returning to Xiao faction's mansion, Xiao Hai could not hold back his questions. Father, why did you do this? Xiao Jin replied without an expression on his face. Black Phantom is greedier than I imagined. I thought that clearing his suspicion could make him grateful, but I didn't expect to spend so much for him to join us. Anyway, it's worth it. At least we are the only faction that could approach Black Phantom and get his help. When I become the leader, these losses can be made up with ease. I see. When you become the leader, you won't have to care about Black Phantom anymore, Xiao Hai realized. Xiao Jin suddenly turned to look at his son and said with a strict voice, You're wrong. There's even more need to fulfill Black Phantom's terms after I become the leader. It's suicide to kick someone to the curb when they've outlived their usefulness. Black Phantom is standing at the peak with his strength. His personal strength is as threatening as an organization. As long as Black Phantom is part of the Xiao faction on the books, we can rely on him. I know that you don't accept this deep down in your heart, but don't act on your impulses and ruin my plan. Xiao Hai had objections in his heart, but he could only clench his teeth and accept it. Yes, father. 2 days passed in a blink of an eye. The internal meeting was carried out in the Aluma meeting hall as scheduled. High-ranked officials across all the factions gathered within, and the guarding power was high. Han Xiao wore a hood and disguised himself as an ordinary high-ranked official of the Xiao faction. He entered the meeting hall without attracting attention and sat down. Todd rang the bell on the table, and the meeting hall turned silent quickly. The meeting will now commence, Todd said with a serious expression. There are 4 candidates for the successor for the leader, myself, Xiao the second chair, Sekai the third chair, and Mr. Angleton. The high-ranked officials spoke their choice. Todd was nervous. He had been contacting other high-ranked officials over the past few days and promised them many benefits. They had all agreed to vote for him when they had the discussion, so he could easily beat the other candidates in the number of votes. But soon he became stunned. The high-ranked officials who promised to vote for him all voted for Sekai without even looking at Todd. How did this happen? Todd was shocked and angry. Sekai had a bright smile on his face. He smiled at every high-ranked official who voted for him. Watching his vote count becoming impossible to be beaten, his heart was relieved. As soon as Daryl was assassinated, Sekai had realized that the successor election was an opportunity. He had been in communication with Theseus secretly, and they had agreed to help him for the promotion. And he, in turn, promised many benefits to them if he successfully became the leader. Although Aluma was Theseus's partner, Theseus was very aggressive. They had been secretly wanting to control Aluma from the inside, and they had gotten into contact with Sekai the third chair, who was not satisfied with his position. Theseus made use of their relationship network and discreetly drew in many high-ranked officials to give Sekai an advantage. Sekai's vote count was way ahead, and soon it exceeded the half mark. The election was settled. Haha, thank everyone for your support and love. I shall not disappoint. Sekai stood up full of happiness on his face. He could not hide his satisfaction at all. Suddenly, a voice that was unforgettable to the seated high-ranked officials came out of the Xiao faction area. I have a problem. Everyone's eyes widened, and their expressions turned into horror. They recognized that this was Black Phantom's voice. Xiao faction's members spit open and showed Han Xiao, who was hidden. Han Xiao was wearing the same black windbreaker and black gloves. His arms were crossed, and he said expressionlessly, Xiao Jin is more suitable to be the leader. Sekai was stunned for an extended moment till he regained his focus. Xiao Jin, how dare you let an outsider interfere with our family issues? Are you intentionally breaking the rules? Black Phantom is not an outsider. He is a senior of my Xiao faction. He is the stepfather of my children. As soon as Xiao Jin finished his sentence, the youngsters of Xiao faction all bowed toward Han Xiao and yelled stepfather simultaneously, almost as if they had been practicing it. The others were stunned in shock. How shameless. Todd's face was twitching. Although the other factions were not happy, they could not deny the fact that Xiao Jin had increased Aluma's overall strength by doing this, as this meant that Black Phantom had become an ally of Aluma. Han Zhao sat down casually and scanned the entire place with a dangerous look. The high-ranked officials all turned away and did not dare look him in the eyes. Words were not needed. Han Zhao's intentions were clear just by sitting here. A silent threat. The atmosphere got awkward. The high-ranked officials who had already voted became anxious and exchanged looks secretly. Finally, a high-ranked official could not take it anymore. He wiped his sweat and said hesitantly, "I've thought carefully and feel that Xiao Jin is more suitable as the next leader. Can I change my vote?" Changing the vote was not allowed according to the rules. However, the host of the meeting, Todd, was cursing in his mind. Black Phantom was right in front of them, so he did not dare to say no. Thus, he nodded in dismay. After the first, the second and the third followed, and soon came the rest. Han Zhao scanned around the room. Whoever came into his sights immediately changed their vote. It was like his eyes had magic in it. The result was a definite. Xiao Jin won with an overwhelming number of votes. The people of the Xiao faction were smiling brightly while the others had to suck it up and congratulate Xiao Jin one after another. Todd's heart was bleeding. The home faction had controlled Aluma for all these years, and now they had lost their power all of a sudden. Todd knew that from that day onward, the home faction would slowly become a vassal. Although Xiao Jin was the final winner, in the eyes of everyone else, the center of this meeting was Black Phantom. All he did was show up, and it decided Xiao Jin's position. This was the power of overwhelming strength. The people were all very jealous of Xiao Jin. As long as Black Phantom remained in the Xiao faction, Xiao Jin's position would be forever stable. The butler led Han Zhao to the book room and closed the door, leaving Xiao Jin and Han Zhao alone in the room. Xiao Jin's wish had been granted, and he had become the leader. "I really appreciate your help," Xiao Jin said sincerely. "Our agreement remains unchanged. If there's anything you need me for, I'll provide help." Xiao Jin smiled. His tone was more confident now that he was the leader. "I've been thinking recently and have come up with a very interesting theory. You knew Su Dinghua was going to assassinate Daryl a long time ago, but you didn't tell anyone and let it happen because there would only be a chance to become the leader after Daryl died. Then, when everyone was suspecting me, only you insisted to help me because you knew who the killer was, and it was a good opportunity to gain my favor. Later, when other factions had already established a bad relationship with me, you found an opportunity to throw out Su Dinghua as a clue and became the one who found the real killer, largely increasing your prestige while simultaneously starting good relations with me. You used it as a reason to gain my help to win the leader's election by using my strength to overpower all the other factions. You're not the real killer, but you're an opportunist who acted while riding along the waves and harvesting the final fruit of victory." Han Zhao turned his head and looked at Xiao Jin. "What do you think about this theory?" Xiao Jin shook his head in laughter. He sipped the wine and said, "It's interesting, but it's not true." "I think it's true." Xiao Jin's expression changed slightly and said, "That's just your speculation." Han Zhao walked towards Xiao Jin. His body was leaning forward, and the pressure forced Xiao Jin to step back continuously until he hit the table. They stood extremely close. Xiao Jin could only look at Han Zhao in his eyes because he had nowhere else to look. He felt a cold murderous intent in Han Zhao's eyes, and cold sweat started dripping. "I don't need evidence. If I think it's true, then it is," Han Zhao sneered. Xiao Jin had to tighten his facial muscles to control his expressions, and his heart began to sink. "Remember, whatever you borrowed from me, I can take it back anytime." Han Zhao's fingers pressed 2 times on Xiao Jin's chest strongly. The act was provoking. Xiao Jin had been promoted with the help of Black Phantom, and Han Zhao could do the same thing for the others anytime. Xiao Jin had no doubt that the other factions would be willing to spend a huge sum to make Black Phantom their ally. Han Zhao took a few steps back to ease the atmosphere. He played around with the wine glass and said coldly, "What are you going to do with Raylan?" Xiao Jin sighed. He knew that this was the time for him to show his stance. "I will make them pay. I'll pursue and kill all of their intelligence agents, attack the organizations they support, and destroy their bases in the wilderness." Originally, it was not suitable to start a war right after he became the leader. His original plan had been to stabilize the internals in 6 months. However, Han Zhao's threatening made him understand that he had no choice. He could only listen to Han Zhao and retaliate against Raylan immediately. "Very good." Han Zhao gave a faint laugh, then left and said, "Enjoy your time as the leader." The wine glass was placed on the table. Han Zhao did not drink any from the start to the end. The sounds of the youngsters yelling "stepfather" outside the door grew faint and distant. Xiao Jin only sat down after the sound disappeared. The happiness of becoming the leader became weaker because of Han Zhao's threats. Father, Black Phantom left. Xiao Hai could not hide his happiness. The position of leader finally belonged to the Xiao faction. Pass my order down. The out-of-town divisions will be launching a full attack on Raylan's forces in the wilderness. Xiao Jin was back to expressionless. Xiao Hai's smile froze. Waves of shock filled his heart, and he said in disbelief, "Father, you've just become the leader, and the structure has yet to stabilize. If we start a war at this time, the power of the family will be hugely damaged." "Stop talking. Do as I said," Xiao Jin said coldly. Xiao Hai was stunned. "You have unlocked the Aluma family. Current relationship, respect. The starting relationship is respect." Seems like Xiao Jin gave in. Han Xiao was very satisfied. He did not threaten Xiao Jin out of nowhere. The deduction earlier was made from his speculation through the pieces of evidence. Firstly, Xiao Jin's actions were all very goal-oriented and connected with each other, and these actions all brought him a benefit, which was very suspicious. Secondly, was a puzzle mission, but Xiao Jin found Su Dinghua straight away. Thus, the mission had been completed too easily, which made him feel that Xiao Jin knew who the killer was all along. Han Xiao opened the interface. "Please state the real killer's identity." Su Dinghua, Raylan. Han Xiao described the situation. The mission requirement was to find out the mastermind who framed him, which was Raylan without a doubt. "Has been processed. Determining. Requirements met. Mission complete. You have received a chance to learn a random ability or talent. Please select." Han Xiao pondered for a moment. He felt that a talent would be better. There was a chance to get a rare talent or even a molding ability. Talent, randomizing, completed. Please choose from one of the three below. Duplicate channeling, 2%, 8% chance of duplicating the ability during channeling. Triggering the ability depends on luck. Call of the Wild, increases default affinity with beast-type monsters with a chance to communicate. Charisma increases the chance of communication. Frost resistance, plus 35% resistance to ice element, and makes it harder to receive debuffs from ice elements such as slow or frozen. The accident in Aluma had come to an end, and the result was satisfactory. Not only did he not lose anything, he also gained quite a number of benefits. Although his schedule was delayed because of the days that he stayed in Aluma, no one disliked having more side missions. The more side missions there were, the more benefits they would bring. Black Phantom had become a member of their family on the books, so this outsider was now the strongest in the family. The high-ranked officials were willing to suck up to him, and they gifted him an SUV to save him the trouble of walking. Although Xiao Jin's wish came true, he could not help but feel some bitterness deep in his heart. Han Xiao waved as he got into the SUV and left in the wind and snow. He finally left. The tensed bodies of Aluma's high-ranked officials all relaxed. It was like a huge stone had been removed from their heart, and even breathing felt easier. 2 days later, Han Xiao accepted the reward mission for Invisible Demon in one of Darknet's base of the northern continent, and only handed Invisible Demon away after a notification popped up on the interface. Interestingly, the person in charge of the stronghold was very confused. "Mr. Black Phantom, where's the Invisible Demon who you've mentioned?" Han Xiao pointed at an empty space on the ground and said, "Right here." The person wiped off his cold sweat and said, I can't see him." Han Xiao used more than 10 torturous ways to prove Invisible Demon's existence, and after the heavily wounded and mind-broken Invisible Demon was retrieved, the mission was completed. More than 200,000 experience and 150,000 aquamarine dollars. He had made another fortune with Invisible Demon. Although Han Xiao had amassed a small fortune, he was not going to give up any opportunity to make more. It was an accumulation process. "What the name of your mechanical suit? Do you sell the mechanical suit?" These questions appeared the most. Han Xiao browsed through the forum and noticed that Galaxy Times had released a recording of him battling in his mechanical suit. This episode of Galaxy Times was not as interesting, but this recording became the highlight of the episode. The quiet comments section exploded upon seeing the recording. No wonder the players are so excited. Han Xiao could understand. When he was a new player, if he had seen a mechanical suit, he would have reacted the same. The most direct influence was that players had even more of an interest in the mechanic class. More people came to this novice village to change their class, which in turn increased his sales. An official announcement showing the various statistics of the game would be released sometime after the official launch. Han Xiao was looking forward to seeing the percentage of players that chose the mechanic class. In his previous life, this percentage had been a single digit, but now, with his influence, he was expecting it to at least double. The more mechanic players, the brighter Han Xiao's business future was. His phone suddenly rang. Han Xiao looked at his phone, and it was Hao Tian who sent a text message. He had completed the mission, and he was the first among all the other highly skilled players who had taken on the mission. Not bad, no wonder he's a god-tier pro. Before leaving the northern continent, Han Zio came to an ice field where high-level ice bears lived. He spent a few hours and used the ghost sniper rifle to fulfill the requirements for lethal shot. After counting, Han Zio had 12 talents, which was exceptional in version 1.0. Half of that would already be very high for a LV55 player. Han Zio also gave the recently obtained talent a try. The ice bears above level 50 was not affected by it at all. They were still as aggressive as they had originally been. He lowered the level of his targets and realized that a bear cub was very friendly toward him. It was white, chubby, and furry. It hugged his leg and showed off its cuteness. There's quite some use to this talent. The cub is only at level 10 something, but there should be other hidden elements to the Call of the Wild, other than it being affected by charm. The level difference between me and the beast should also be part of the reason, as well as the characteristics of the beast. Han Zio contemplated the matter. Suddenly, he saw this furry ball trying its best to climb up his leg. The great Han Zio squinted and kicked the cub away. The white and chubby cub rolled over a few times and then came back again. Han Zio just could not chase it away no matter how he tried. It was very clingy. Its furry butt kept shaking, and it looked stupid. Its small, black eyes were filled with innocence. Tisk, how adorable. Han Zio could not resist its cuteness. He held the cub upside down and gave it a look. And it's a female. They looked at each other for some time. Then Han Zio reached out his arms. The cub climbed up laboriously to Han Zio's shoulder and hung onto it like a swing. You definitely have some koala blood. Didn't expect you to be a crossbreed, Han Zio said in surprise. I shall bring it along as a pet. Raising a pet was a spice of life. With a pet, Han Zio suddenly felt much more relaxed. No wonder people in the big cities like to have pets. It was such an effective stress reliever. When they were unhappy, they just had to bully their pet, and they could find back their sense of superiority as an intelligent species. This was a sharp claw ice bear cub, only a few months old. Han Zio was too lazy to give it a name, so he just called it Bear Cub. Bringing along Bear Cub, Han Zio boarded the plane to the border of Raylan and picked up Hao Tian. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.